Hey, what's up, Ram fans? We're almost there, a couple of days away from the opening game for the Rams. Texans at the Rams at SoFi Sunday afternoon. I have a feeling this is going to be a really, really good game between two excellent football teams. Can't wait to see it. What am I going to do this episode? Well, I'm going to share an injury update. Unfortunately, not all good news. And then, the Rams have seen a lot of players exit recently. Not a lot, but a handful of draft picks. And I thought it'd be a good time to take a look back at these recent drafts and how they stack up right now. And then at the end here, I am going to talk about my fearsome four keys to the game. A little bit of a rehash of what Ian and I have already talked about. I'm going to give my own personal spin on what I think the keys to victory are for our Los Angeles Rams. Now let's get to that injury update. You've probably already heard Ahkello Witherspoon missing Thursday's practice with an apparent knee issue. And every report I saw basically said the same thing. Let's hold our breath and wait until tomorrow. We'll find out more. But a little concerning to say the least. Now, if he can't go, that's going to elevate the importance of Emmanuel Forbes. He'll have to contribute more, as will Josh Wallace in all likelihood. So not good news, but, on the other side of the ball, the Texans are dealing with some issues on offense. Christian Kirk, the wide receiver, dealing with a hamstring issue, and he's basically been ruled out. And pile that on top of the fact that Joe Mixon can't go, and they're already missing Tank Dell for probably the season. Yeah, I think the Rams still coming in a little bit healthier, but it would be nice to have Witherspoon there to deal with Nico Collins. So we'll find out more Friday, crossing our fingers. Hopefully Ahkello can go. He's a really important part of this defense. We talked about all preseason, all training camp, how the Rams secondary, their cornerbacks especially, are certainly not elite, but there's a really good group there. And Ahkello might be the most reliable guy back there. So to lose him, we're going to test that depth I've been talking about. We're going to test it real quickly. But hopefully he can go. We'll see. Hopefully they're just being cautious with him, and Ahkello will be able to go. So let's talk about these recent drafts, shall we? The 2024 draft, still looking pretty excellent, even though we lost our first two guys from that draft haul. We'll go through the list here. Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, solid contributors, obviously. Blake Corum remains to be seen, but very promising. Cameron Kinchins, a starter. And then Tyler Davis, an important part of the defensive line rotation. Joshua Carty, solid kicker, it appears anyways. Jordan Whittington, I think this might be the year he busts out a little bit. And then Bo Limmer, I think he will work his way into the starting lineup eventually. Two guys moving on very recently, Brennan Jackson, now with the Raiders, and Casey Leviston traded to the Browns. Jackson, of course, was waived and moved on to the Raiders. So, this draft still stacks up really well when you consider realistically what you want to see is, a 35-40% hit rate. If you can get one really good player, a couple of contributors, starters, and then a couple of role players out of a draft, you're doing really good. And this draft haul in 2024 is far and beyond that. So let's move on to the 2023 draft. And this is the draft where they had all those picks. And at the top, still looking really good. Steve Avila, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, all very good starters. Stetson Bennett starting to shine, has the looks of a potential solid backup quarterback, maybe Jimmy G's replacement, or maybe move on and start somewhere else. I don't know if he's up to the task of being the Rams starter in a Sean McVay offense, but I wouldn't count him out completely. Then there's Warren McClendon. He's a swing guy on the offensive line, important player. Davis Allen. Basically is a fourth string tight end, but he's made the roster. And then Puka Nacua, what do I need to say about him? He's one of the best receivers in the game. Looking further down, we have Ethan Evans, solid punter, and Mr. Irrelevant, Deshaun Johnson, continues to make this roster and continues to make plays on occasion. And who has moved on in this draft? Trey Hodges Tomlinson, I believe, is on the 49ers IR. O'Shawn Mathis, last I heard, I think he was bouncing between the Eagles and the Patriots. I'm not sure where he ended up. I don't think he's on any roster right now. I could be wrong on that. Zach Evans has retired, and Jason Taylor, the safety, I believe he's out of the NFL as well. Could be mistaken. I didn't do a deep dive on this. I did a scrub of some rosters and practice squads as best I could. So overall, still a very, very good draft. I mean, just the fact that if you came out of this draft with Avila, Young, Turner, and Puka Nakua, you'd be extremely happy. And then you throw in a bunch of other guys that are solid contributors. A very, very good draft. And the 2022 draft, you know, we hit on three guys really big: Kobe Durant, Kyron Williams, and Quentin Lake. We missed on Logan Bruss at the top of the draft, Darion Kendrick with the Seahawks now, Daniel Hardy, I believe, is with the Bears, Russ Yeast on the Bengals practice squad, and AJ Curry. I don't have him highlighted here as a member of the roster, but he's on the practice squad. So, you know, I would still call this draft a solid success, given that you have three really good players that came out of this draft. Now, 2021, we have to really revisit this draft because it's starting to look like, I wouldn't say a disaster, but man, a lot of question marks, a lot of second guessing we can do on less, as far as Les Snead is concerned. Tutu Atwell, you know, he's he has to be considered a disappointment, considering where he was drafted. Ernest Jones, solid draft pick, but we moved on from him for whatever reason, and now he's with an NFC West rival. And then there's Bobby Brown, moved on to the Panthers. He was okay. Robert Rochelle on the Cowboys practice squad. Jacob Harris was signed by the Bucks in late August, but I don't think he stuck. Ernest Brown IV has bounced around a little bit. He was with the 49ers briefly. Now he's on the Cowboys practice squad. Jake Funk, I believe, is out of football. Ben Skowronek on the Steelers. Chris Garrett on the St. Louis Battlehawks. So all in all, not a good draft. So we can celebrate the successes of Les Snead, but we also have to recognize this 2021 draft is not looking good. You know, if we had held on to Ernest Jones, and if Bobby Brown had elevated his game a little bit, probably feel a little bit different about it. But at the bottom half, you know, it didn't really work out. Jacob Harris, Ernest Brown, Jake Funk, Ben Skowronek, and Chris Garrett. And, you know, Skowronek, as a 7th round pick, I believe, not a bad pick. He's still playing in the NFL, so you gotta give Les Snead credit for that in a roundabout way. Hey, I also want to get caught up on all these other ex-Rams. I was just curious, you know, as the season starts, how many ex-Rams have stuck, where they ended up. But before I do that, I got to tell you, I bet on NFL games on occasion, and you know, it's not often that you get deals when you're talking about betting on NFL games. It's not like you go into getting on Amazon or Walmart or shopping for cars or whatever, where you stumble across a great deal. But I got a pretty good deal here for you. My bookie has joined up with us, and they're offering this promo code RAMSUP. If you use this code on any bet you choose, up to $500, it's fully covered. So, hey, you know, we always hear about these folks winning these parlays and putting $100 on a long shot and bringing home some big money. Hey, you can help yourself out perhaps. If you're going to make a bet, you might as well use this promo code with my bookie and give it a shot. And I tell you, I already talked a little bit about the games that I liked the other night. Now, don't take my betting advice, but I do encourage you to use this promo code on my bookie. And the games that I liked the Chiefs to cover against the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to have trouble without, you know, I know they moved Joe Alt from right tackle to left tackle. I think this Chiefs team is out to prove something. Could be a very good game, but I still think the Chiefs will cover. I was taking the under on the Saints-Cardinals game. I was taking the Seahawks. Take the money line on the Seahawks. I think they're 2.5 point underdogs. I think that's a really solid bet. Taking the money line on the Seahawks be a nice little payoff. And then I was taking the Vikings to cover against the Bears. But hey, don't place my bets. Please don't do that. But jump onto my bookie. Use this promo code RAMSUP. You'll be helping us out, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be helping yourself out as well. So let's move on to this. I wanted to check in on a bunch of players around the league. Where are they now? And a lot of these guys maybe you knew already, but I think it's fun to remind ourselves. Start of the season, where are all these ex-Rams? Well, 3 ex-Rams on the Bills. David Edwards playing left guard for them, starting left guard, and Taylor Rapp starting free safety. And I know we don't pay safeties, and Taylor Rapp was probably going to move on regardless, but I was a Taylor Rapp fan. I know a lot of you weren't. And David Edwards, maybe we gave up on him a little too early. He was dealing with some concussions, and I think there was concern about his health when the Rams decided to let him walk. And then, of course, there's Michael Hoyt, but he is suspended. Josh Reynolds is with the Jets now. I didn't know that, and there he is. 2 ex-Rams on the Ravens. These are recent additions, Joseph Noteboom and Jake Hummel, both in backup roles. I mentioned Russ Snead on the practice squad of the Bengals. Brett Ripien is on the practice squad, and I hate to throw shade on the guy, but I'm surprised he's stuck. And then the Steelers released Robert Woods, of course, but Jalen Ramsey, of course, is with the Steelers. And then I already mentioned KT Leviston, backup offensive lineman with the Browns. And the punter, Corey Bajorquez, is with the Browns now, and he was with the Rams briefly. With the Titans, 3 ex-Rams, Brandon Allen, actually a few. Brandon Allen and Van Jefferson are both playing backup roles there. And Sebastian Joseph Day, another guy we maybe gave up on a little bit too early. They're starting left defensive end. And Johnny Hecker is with the Titans. I didn't know that. I mean, sometimes I lose sight of some of these other teams. I spend so much time keeping up with our Rams and putting content together. So got to cut me a little slack there. 2 ex-Ram tight ends are with the Jaguars, Johnny Munt and Hunter Long. Jonathan Franklin Myers, I believe he was in the same draft as Sebastian Joseph Day, and he's put together a really good career. He's the starting right defensive end for a great Broncos defense. Cameron Dicker, he was in Rams training camp I think he made it into the preseason with the Rams before losing out to Matt Gay. He's still with the Chargers, of course. I already mentioned Brennan Jackson with the Raiders. Long snapper Matt Orzech was with the Rams years back, and he's with the Packers now. 2 ex-Rams with the Bears. Oh, we know Jonah Jackson. We sent him over there. We're very fortunate to get anything back for that in that trade. And Case Keenum, how long has that guy been in the NFL? He is a backup quarterback for the Bears. Carson Wentz, backup quarterback for the Vikings. Remember their backup, his name's going to escape me, broke his thumb, broke his finger or something, and they had to do an emergency acquisition of Carson Wentz. And 3 really good players, ex-Rams with the Commanders. We still take credit for Bobby Wagner as an ex-Ram, and of course Von Miller, and Matt Gay has moved over to the Commanders. And then, of course, Willie Lampkin on the practice squad of the Eagles. And that just kind of pains me a little bit to say that. I'm sorry, it really does. I think we should have found a way to keep him, whether it's putting him on IR, stash him away for a year. But he hopefully will not make an appearance for the Eagles against us in some future game. That would make it even more painful, sorry to say. Okay, so let's move on to my fearsome 4 keys to the game. And, some of this is going to sound a little bit like I'm rehashing stuff, and I am a little bit, but I think it's worth revisiting. I broke this up into 2 keys on offense and 2 keys on defense. And obviously, we have to do whatever it takes to protect Matthew Stafford, keep him clean. And that means, as Ian said, running some screens to our tight ends, maybe some jet sweeps. Keep these this ferocious pass rush of the Texans honest, run the ball up the middle, and help out Alaric Jackson if he needs it. Hopefully he doesn't, because they got two edge rushers. You can't help on both of them, I don't think. But the answer may be just pounding the ball in the middle. But got to keep Stafford clean. They're going to get to him a little bit, I'm afraid. We just got to minimize that, and I think the Rams offense will be okay. The other thing is, I was thinking about what Bill Belichick used to do on defense, and he would just take away the other team's best player. Now, on offense, you'd like to take away those two pass rushers, but you'd also like to take away their cornerback Stingley. And the way you do that is not thrown in his direction, I guess, is one thing you can do, but by running the ball. And, you can use motion to determine what kind of coverage they're in. And Matthew Stafford is smart enough to if it means not thrown in his direction all game long, that's what you do. Take him out of the game any way you can. And if that means Devontae Adams is taken out of the game at the same time, you got other weapons that can make up the difference. Run the ball, get the ball to your other receivers, your tight ends. Kind of ties into keeping Stafford clean at the same time, right? A lot of the same things that you can do to keep Stafford clean are also can also help you keep Stingley neutralized. You remember how Jalen Ramsey used to get bored for the Rams, playing the cornerback for the Rams? Let's bore Stingley to death. How about that? Now on defense, what do we got to do? I suspect this Rams pass rush is going to be chomping at the bits. They seem to be chomping at the bits all last year. But with C.J. Stroud, you just have to have a disciplined pass rush. Don't let him extend plays. Collapse the pocket. Make him get rid of the ball in a timely fashion. Don't let these plays develop. Don't give them time to develop, allowing guys like Nico Collins to stretch the field on you. And it's pretty straightforward, I think. I'm not too worried about defending the rush. As I said before, going all offseason, that had to be the focus of this Rams defense. In this game, I'm not so much worried about the run game as I am about making sure C.J. Stroud isn't camping out back there, extending plays, escaping to the outside and making plays off schedule against this Rams defense, against a defense that could possibly be without our best cornerback. And the other thing we have to do is make them one-dimensional. And if we do that, they're going to have to try to go to the run, and that's fine. If we turn them into a team that's trying to run the ball down our throat, that's a win. If we have taken away the run and they resort to the pass and we're just disciplined, stick to the plan. Everybody do your job. Cornerbacks, the pass rush, collapse the pocket, make them one-dimensional, whatever dimension that is. Keep them off balance, and make them earn every inch of the field. All those catchphrases that we all use. I'm using them here again, but bottom line is make them either resort to passing because you've taken away the run, or make them resort to running because you've just frustrated the heck out of C.J. Stroud. Don't let them get us off balance because they have a questionable offensive line. I really think they do. It could end up being more improved and better than we think. But opening day, it's got to be a weakness. It's got to be their Achilles heel. That's why I'm not worried too much about the run game. That one dimension, I think, will be forcing CJ to get rid of the ball as a pocket quarterback, make him play out of the pocket. And I think that's a big win for this Rams defense. So that's all I got. We'll be back Saturday morning with our round table with Farbode and Scott, and then I'll have a pregame pulse Sunday morning, and of course a postgame reaction right after the game. Stuff's going to start happening really fast here at Rams Up. Hopefully we can keep up with all the action. Ian will be at the game and may give us a report, a video report right after the game. So look for that as well. I'll incorporate that into my post-game reaction. Wow, that's a lot out here from Rams Up.